Hey guys, and welcome to 8-Bit Rage Quit with me, Bish Mish, for the Apollo Network. And today we are playing a game that wasn't actually released in North America or overseas. And this game is Final Fantasy III. This was a Japanese game for the Famicom NES system. And the Famicom looks very different to the actual NES that we know and love. You know, it looks like crazy. It's red. It looks weird. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about this game. This game is good, but I was playing this game in Japanese, and there is downfalls because I didn't know where everything was, didn't know how to play, just spam the buttons. That's how I play Final Fantasy games anyway. And you know, I like this Final Fantasy game quite a lot because it's not like Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2. This is like the old Final Fantasy games, and in fact it is an old Final Fantasy game where it's turn-based, so everyone has their turn and it's like that. The new Final Fantasy games are not like that. New ones are like, I think they're in real time, so you do one attack and you never know. Your enemy's attack might come straight after, it might be before, it can happen randomly and that kind of thing. It's not pre-made, it's not pre-attacks, that kind of thing. It's more laid back, I would say. It's not structured like these Final Fantasy games. Anyway, so yeah, just taking the stuff from the chests. Can you see that rock over there? That's the thing. I didn't know you had to attack the rock, because when you attack the rock, it opens that doorway. Anyway, so let's talk about this game. It was released only in Japan, like I said, on the Famicom. And people are like, what the hell is a Famicom? It is actually the NES for Japan. That's how they knew it as. Because the NES over here was bulky and that kind of thing. Famicom was smaller, I would say, in size. And it had their pads were wired to the console. Of course, ours they were wired, but they weren't wired to the console. You had to plug them into the console. And, you know, you had two controllers wired into the console. And something weird, the second controller didn't have a start and select button. Instead, it had a microphone for those games that actually had microphone support. You know, the NES kind of brought loads of things to other consoles. You know, the whole microphone idea. You know, some games now on consoles like the Xbox use microphones, Lips for instance, and on the Wii, I believe, no, not on the Wii, Lips is on the Xbox 360, and I think SingStar on the PlayStation uses a microphone, and obviously that is obvious because they are singing games, but the NES kind of started that kind of trend, putting microphones in their actual controller. Now I want to see this kind of thing in the Wii U, a microphone in the controller, so then you can do like microphone commands, like with Skyrim on the Xbox 360, their DLC will have voice commands. I want to see with the Wii U to have some sort of voice command system for their games. Anyway, I don't know why I drifted off into Skyrim. Skyrim's awesome, by the way. And anyway, you can find this game, Final Fantasy III, on an online emulator. I think it's called virtualnes.com. This is the one I use, and of course they do a translated version, and I will be playing the translated version on another episode of 8-Bit Rage Quit, see how better I do. And this is my first try of the game, so see how it is. I've kind of learned a lot. You know, you have 4 people, like a standard Final Fantasy game. It's a shame we don't have eidolons in this game, but I know they've introduced that later on in like Final Fantasy 7, 13 and stuff like that. And yeah, this game kind of makes the other games disappointing. It makes Final Fantasy 13 look really bad. I know that sounds stupid, but I prefer this game over Final Fantasy 13. I don't know why. And I opened that door finally, and there is a chest. I like taking stuff from the chest. I thought doing something to that rock would do something as well. It doesn't. Yeah. So seeing as this is my first gameplay, I do quite good on it. As you can see, it's a 14-minute video, so I make some progress. But this game, the way it starts is messed up, and you'll see that in a second when I hit the first boss, which is a turtle. It looks like a turtle anyway. And these things, I don't know what these things are. They're like squids with eyeballs and stuff, like a piranha flower. I don't know what it is. If you guys know what it is, put it in the description, because I don't know what it is and I can't read Japanese. So if you guys can read Japanese, then tell me. I like the music as well, the Final Fantasy fanfare as it was, and they do kind of keep it in some of the future games. Yeah, I decide to not go up there because I need to get that chest, and then I face these guys again, which is a shame because I don't like how they look, but they're alright. Alright guys. Anyway, so you can find this on emulators, translated. If you really want to play it on your NES, you can, I'm not sure if you can import it, but what you can do is, if you have a Wii console, you can download it on your Wii from the Wii's Virtual Console. I think it's like 100 Wii points or 500 Wii points, I'm not quite sure, but there you go. Yeah, another thing I want to talk about is I've been researching, and Nintendo wasn't actually a game company to start off with. It's a bit weird. They were a card company, playing card company, and then they done different things like hotels, after a while taxi company, and then they were like, oh yeah, let's do video games, and they did, and it's awesome. If they didn't start off with the NES, you know, I don't know what would have happened. We would have been with Sega, and I'm actually more of a Sega person, which is a bit odd, but we just would have had the Sega, and you know, there wouldn't have been any of these console wars if it wasn't for the NES. And I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's good, because you know, if Sega would have been the only console out there at the time, you know, we wouldn't be seeing Nintendo, we wouldn't have the Nintendo Wii, we might have a Sega console. I actually want to see what that would have been like, a Sega console. Speaking of Sega, a lot of people at the time around the NES used to pirate games, and there was this one company called Samari, which, not Somali, Samari, they basically ported the games from the Sega Master System, Sega Mega System, sorry, and they put it on the NES, which is a bit weird. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that later. I find a pool, and what this pool does, I've realized, is it gives you like full health and it levels you up instantly. However, any people that died in your squad do not get revived, which is a shame. So I'm most probably going to go to the boss, which is the massive turtle thing. So back to Samari. What Samari did, they ported Sega Mega games onto the NES, I believe, and it wasn't good. They pirated the games. They actually, that kind of thing is illegal. Anyway, they ported those games, they brought them over. Games like Sonic, which is a bit odd, and another game called Samari, which is basically Sonic and Mario put together. It's Mario in a Sonic world. It doesn't look good at all. It's crazy. And you know, they keep the same music in, and I don't know how Sega didn't stop them in their tracks, but that's another story. Another games they used to make, I believe, was I'm not sure, but I do know some companies used to pirate games like Shinobi onto the NES system, which is illegal, obviously. Anyway, we're gonna go back into the boss. The boss doesn't look right. Anyway, I forgot to mention, my guy died here. Green guy, I called him. Yeah, the boss music's cool. This boss doesn't really do anything much. It's quite stupid. You just, but I have noticed these kind of bosses in a Final Fantasy 13 game. They look similar to that. Yeah. So, I'm hoping you're enjoying the gameplay, by the way. It looks quite cool. I've noticed that there's two characters. The red ones look exactly the same. I'm not sure if they're twins or anything. They're twins, yeah! But I'm a twin, actually. Enough about that. Randomness. So yeah, I'm guessing they're twins. I'm not sure. Never played Final Fantasy on the NES before. And anyway, guys, if you guys want to see any more or different types of gameplay, like SNES, NES, Game Boy, Sega, Mega, Dreamcast, because I really want to play the Dreamcast. If you guys want to see that, put them in the comments below. Tell me what game you want to play, what improvements I can make to this. If some people have been saying we want Pokemon And like I said, Team Headshot's been wanting Donkey Kong Country 2. I'm gonna try put you Donkey Kong. Anyway, there's this crystal, have to go to it. I don't know what it's about, all this Japanese, can't read it, unfortunately. But this was actually the prologue. You don't see many games doing this. It goes into a prologue and then into some sort of intro credits. Yeah, so that's Square 1990. This game was actually made before I was born. So it's good to be playing games older than you, don't you think? And I'm going to leave these credits on. I'm not going to cut them out. Mainly because these people do need their recognition. And there you go. And as it seems, this game doesn't look like it's been made by anyone that is not Japanese. And I don't mean that in a rude way. It's just normally you have a range, nowadays you have a range of different people making the game. Maybe you have the publishers in Europe and then people make the game in Japan. But this game was fully made in Japan, as I am aware. So yeah, looks quite cool. It's a bit weird, they put their names in English, but everything else is in Japanese. So you look, for something, I'm guessing that says for adventurers, fight something, I don't know. And here's my Japanese translation. As if only I could really speak Japanese, that'd be awesome. Anyway, the crystal's just there. I don't know what this Japanese is saying. And if you guys can read Japanese, tell me. Actually no, I will be playing the translated version of this game, so yeah. And then I go to this big warp hole, I would say, that looks like a star. Looks quite cool. And then I get teleported to this new world. I like the music. And you can go into towns as well, which is a nice feature. I don't waste my time going into the towns anyway. Because that's going to waste your time as well, so I don't want to waste your time. Let's get straight into fighting. And now they have these wasps. And I do hate wasps in real life. So this is quite weird for me, because they do deal quite a lot of damage. That guy, see, look, 18 damage right there. I haven't seen a wasp in real life do that. They kill people. I'm not sure. I'm gonna put blue guy in to fight, even though he's damaged. I do know there is a runaway feature, like a retreat. Unfortunately, I can't read Japanese, so I don't know which one is the retreat feature. So that means blue guy died. He sacrificed his life, so it's alright. He sacrificed for the team. Took one for the team. He died. Rest in peace, blue guy. Yeah. So it's the two red guys left, the twins, as I like to call them. And they have quite considerable HP left, so I'm feeling confident about that. The battle system obviously looks quite cool. For some reason it reminds me a lot of Romance of the Three Kingdoms in the battle system. But, you know, many Square fans will be like, oh, how can you say that about that? But it does, I'm just saying my opinion. And now I'm looking through the forest to find some enemies to battle. I'm not going to go into the castle, like I said, because I don't want to waste your time here. And I thought that rock would do something. It doesn't. It doesn't. And yeah, there's a pool there. Might take a swim. Oh, okay. Werewolves. These things scare the hell out of me. I don't know why. They do take a lot of damage, and they do end up killing my two red guys, which is a shame. Yeah. If I had a team of 4, I would have defeated them easily. Unfortunately, I don't. And you know, oh, both of them died. At least they died together, you know. Brothers. Yeah. And that is the end of this game. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Tell me what you want to see next week in the comments below. Remember to like and favorite and subscribe to Apollo.